Okay, hello everyone. In last lecture, we have seen the different exploits that did by DOS attack. So today we are going to see the application exploit. So here it is. So application programs have some weakness and the application software exploits take advantage of this weakness. The weakness of application programs are often called as the bugs and the intruder use application exploits to get unauthorized access to the computers or the network or to crash or congest up the system to deny the service to others. So as we know that the application has created by the developer, and for every applications that have some weaknesses, using that the intruder can take entry in our system and make the resources available unavailable, make the system crash. So to avoid that, our software must be a secure one. So there are different exploits are generated that we are going to discuss next. First one is the Unix exploit. The main aim of many Unix or the Linux operating system exploits is gaining the root access, because in Unix operating system or the in Linux operating system, the root access is important. There are different users are created, and using that the attacker can attack on the system. So there are normal users, there are super users, there are administrators. So different accounts are created, and each and every user has some different role. They have a different authorities. So attackers, if get the access of the super user, then they can use the system as they want, and this is not good for the regular user or the legitimate user. The user can also clear the locks to cover his tracks, or user can get the access of the super user ID file, which contains the super user permission. So if the attacker get access of the super user, then the attacker can change the super user permissions also. So after the attacker log out, the the account, the super user account, and whenever the regular user attacker sorry super user enter in the system, at that time the super user does not get the regular permissions available because of attacker change its permission. Okay. So next point is rootkit attack. Rootkit attack is a group of the program which install a Trojan login replacement with backdoor along with the packet sniffer on Unix boxes. So uh, this is the application that used to install Trojan virus, and the Trojan virus, due to virus, the intruder can enter in the system from backdoor, and also the attacker creates the packet sniffer, so no one can identify the attacker. The sniffer captures the network traffic, including users identification. The attacker gets the root account access with user identification. So the sniffer captures the network traffic, and including the user identification, the attacker gets the root account access with user identification. So whenever the attacker creates sniffer packet, at that time the attacker use different users identity. So no one get identify the attacker. Next one is the NFS exploit. The network file system permits user to remotely mount disks on other computers one by one to access the files on remote system. It makes the files on the remote disk available across the network. So whenever we use network file system, at that time using NFS, we can mount the disk on other computer. So why we mount the disk on of other of another computer? Because we want to copy the data from one PC to another PC using remote access. It makes the files on the remote disk available across the network. The NFS work program is used to try out various techniques techniques of mounting an NFS disk to determine if the remote computer is configured in such manner as to permit the remote mounting. If it will become successful, it allows the attacker to full access the remote file system, and the attacker can then read or write to all the files. So here, if attacker run the NFS bug program, it get access of NFS file, network whole network file system, and then the attacker can mount any file in the network or any file the attacker can read or write from the file system. Then other Unix exploits. The Unix exploits are buffer overflow, insecure default configuration, and the flaws in the programming that hacker can use compromise the network and system. Next one is the router exploits. Nowadays, many routers come with the default administrator password. If the administrator does not change the password, then the attacker may obtain that password. The attacker can alter the router configuration table. So here is the case. If we are using the router, whenever we get the router, it comes with the default password, and everyone knows default password. So whenever the attacker attack on the router, and if the network administrator did not change the router password, the attacker can easily get access of router. It can change the router configuration table, and it's very dangerous because every packet that travel through router, that can be accessible by the attacker. The router also have the backdoor password, which will be used by the vendor's tech support personnel in case if the administrator forget the password. So by using this password, the vendor will help to get back it. So there is another way. If the user change the password, then also the attacker can get the password by using backdoor password. So the backdoor password is the concept where if a regular user forget the password, it can get the password using backdoor password, but the attacker take advantage of it and use the backdoor password. The attacker can also create the DOS attack by altering the root table entries to send the entries message to one destination. So if the attacker get access of router, then attacker can do whatever they want. They can send a message to any destination n number of times. The attacker can send the data because the attacker get access of the router. The attacker will send the spoof RIP message if the router is using RIP, that is the routing information protocol, to dynamically update the routing table. So if the attacker get access of the router and also get the also the router use the RIP, that is routing information protocol, then attacker can send or update the routing table dynamically. The RIP messages can change the routing table entries without accessing the router directly. DOS attack causes the router to shut down. Okay, so if the attacker gets the router access, it can introduce DOS attack on a router, and the system or the resources have infected with the DOS attack. So no user can use the network at that time. Next one is the bug exploit. The bugs are of following type. In network or in internet, there are different types of bugs. First one is the buffer overflow. Buffer overflow occur when the character input exceeds the buffer size. So as we know that there is a buffer. Buffer is nothing but the storage where we store the data temporary, and the network can get the data from the buffer. But if the buffer size is increased, the buffer overflows, error generated or the bug generated. Then next one is the unexpected input. Programmers do not consider what happens when invalid input is entered. This may cause the program to crash or open door the system. So sometimes the hacker gives the invalid input, and Due to this, the program maybe get crash. So that is nothing but the unexpected input. Next one is the configuration bugs. Configuration bugs are nothing but the ways the configuration the software that leaves it vulnerable to penetration. Software like IIS, MSIE, and MSOE are hackers' favorite. Hackers always look for the ways to exploit it. ActiveX Control, JavaScript, and VBScript can be used to add animations on applets to websites or email message, but the hackers can exploit these features. They write controls or scripts that permits them to plant the virus remotely access data or the change or delete files on hard disks of unaware users who visit the page or open the mail and run the script. So whenever the user get access of the configuration file, the u- the attacker can change the configuration file and add the virus program in the network. So whenever the any user use the network, at that time the programs automatically get installed on the system, and the vulnerable behavior the user can find out. Next one is the mail bomb. A mail bomb is a means of flooding mail server. This is because the mail server to stop functioning, which results in denying the services to the user. This is a simple form of attack accomplished by the sending innumerous quantity of email to a specific user or system. So mail bomb is nothing but the application used to flood the mail server. And whenever this application get runs, at that time, your email behavior vulnerable. It does not work properly. It get crash, or it sends n number of message to the users. Nowadays, the many programmers are available on hacking website on internet easily launch Mailbomb attack. It automatically sends floods email to the specified address. So whenever the attacker install Mailbomb attack on the system, at that time the user's email send a particular message to the users, to the different users that are in users account. List linking is the Mailbomb program. This program subscribes the targeted users use thousands of high volume internet mailing list. This mailing list fills the user mailbox or mail server. Examples of list linking attacks are Voodoo, Unabomber. To avoid the bomb attack solution is the block traffic from the originating network using the packet filters. So to avoid the mail bombs attack, the network administrator must use block traffic. So it prevents from the mail bomb attack. Next one is the browser exploit. Web browsers are the client software programs like MSIE, Microsoft Internet Explorer, Netscape, etc. These web browsers connect to the server running web server software such as the IIS or Apache. Then it requests web pages through URL. The URL is friendly address which the represent of the IP address and particular files on the server at the address. The browser service receives the encoding file and interprets the code, which determines how the page will display on the user's monitor. There are many attacks performed on the browser. So whenever the attacker get access of the browser, because the browser is the very friendly application with the server, we can get access of server using browser, and browser is very crucial one for us. And whenever the attacker get access of the browser, then it can alter the content that comes from the server, or it can also change the content that we send to the server. So it's very dangerous for the users, because it totally changed the HTML pages. Next one is the exploitable browser characteristic. The browser contain images, text, sounds, and movies, and also run the executable code. The browser software also stores the information of the computer and the user. The information gets uploaded to the web server by the users in response to code on the website. These characteristics helps to support the running support for running code, allows web design, create page, and to interact with the user. So whenever so generally the web browser is used to execute the images, text, sound, and movies file. Also, it execute the code. So this different role performed by the browser. Cookies help the users to set the preference on the sites, which will be retained the next time they visit the site. The hacker exploit the characteristic. The hacker can program a website run that transfer a virus to the client computer via browser. So this program erases the key system files and plans the backdoor program which allows the hackers to take control of the user system. As we know that the cookies are nothing but the program that store on the computer, and whenever the user get access of the cookies, it can change or alter the data that present in the cookie system. They can also introduce the virus in a cookie file. So all the data get erased from the cookie. Next one is the web spoofing. Web spoofing means the attacker can see or make the changes to the web pages that are transmitted from one machine to another machine. The web pages may contain the important information like credit card details, password used to access the website. The attacker may use the JavaScript to route the web pages and information via the attacker's computer, and which impersonate the destination web server. The attacker can send a mail to the victim, and the mail contains link to the forget page. On the attackers may put the link to the popular search engine. The SSL do not verify the hyperlinks that the user follows. So web sniffing is the nothing but the creating different web pages, and whenever any user or whenever the attacker attack on the system using web spoofing, it can get all the details that the user performs. If user enters the credit card details, that also get by the attacker. Next one is the web server exploits. The web server is the program which stores the web pages. These web pages are available to other across internet. Right. Web servers are always on risk because they are available to the internet to do what they want. Clients send the transmission to the request for the web pages. The web server should be isolated from the network as they are vulnerable to attack. The web server application may be contain bugs. For example, in 2001, the Microsoft IS software an error discovered. This error exploit the code used for indexing feature where the components get installed by the default. When the code was running, the hackers created the buffer overflows to take control of the server and change the web pages, bring down the system in Apache web server. The errors was found in PHP scripting language that if exploited by attacker, the attacker runs the arbitrary code on the system. So web server is the very crucial one because all the data or the all the code are stored on the web server, and client can easily access that pages by sending the request to the web server. And whenever the attacker get uh, access of web server, the attacker can put any file on the web server, and that file accessed by the different user. So it's very dangerous for any client or the user when their server get hacked. Next one is the buffer overflow. Buffer is the temporary memory with a small size which holds the data. Many software programs use the buffer memory to speed up the processing. Buffer is also used to store changes to the data. The information in the buffer copied to the disk. Buffer overflows occurs when more information is put into the buffer than its capacity. हॅलो, इज इट ऑडिबल? आवाज येतोय मला सगळ्यांना? सीमा, दामिनी, फिजा, हेमांगी. आता मध्येच जरा नेटवर्क कनेक्शन गेलेलं बहुतेक. ओके ओके. थँक यू फॉर युअर क्विक रिस्पॉन्स. So there are two types of memory access, that is the stack and second one the heap. The stack and heap are the two areas of the memory structure. These are allocated when the program is run. Stack stores the function call and heap stores the dynamically allocated. So stack is used to store the static data and heap is used to store the data dynamically. The buffer have also specify amount of memory. To attack the heap, attackers use the buffer overflow attackers and tries to overwrite the password, the file name or any other data. If the file name is overwritten, then the user can open the different file and run it, which was not intended to be run. So whenever the attacker perform attack uh, on buffer, at that time they used to change their password, and also the files that are stored in a buffer are overwritten. So if any user used to execute a particular file, the different file will come on the system. Next one is the operating system exploits. Some operating system are family of operating system exploit is unique. The attackers exploit the particular characteristic of operating system code. Every operating system has its own vulnerability. So the vulnerability are the WinNuke out of brand attack. The out of brand attack exploits the vulnerability of the some Microsoft networks. Thus, this attack is also known as the Windows OOB bug. The WinNuc program and the variations like Sinners and Muter Muret create the OOB data transmission that crashes the machine to which it is sent. It works like this. It establishes the TCP connection using the port 139 with target IP address. The programmer uses MSG OOB in the packet header, send the data. The MSG OOB flag instructs the computer WinSong to send data called OOB data. When the flag is received, the targeted Windows server anticipated the pointer will be positioned and the packet where the information closes.